What is up, Bucs fans? We are back. It's Real Bucs Talk here. I'm your host, Michael Plus. Join as always my co-host, Mark Ramirez. And it's good to be back. We are less than 3 weeks away from the 24 NFL draft, which is crazy to think about. The years going by fast, but a lot of things to discuss tonight. We have a special treat for you as well, so be sure to stay tuned. Hit that like button if you are joining us here for the first time. Welcome in, and appreciate all the support. But Mark, it's getting closer as we get to the NFL draft. It's a big time in the year for football fans. And it's obviously an event we all enjoy. So I mean, how are we doing, and how are we feeling about this Buccaneers team as we get closer?
Yeah, I mean, the draft's always a special time because you're getting new faces in your team. Your team's getting stronger. You hope they're getting stronger, right?
Yeah.
You're getting to look into these guys that you're pounding the table for. You're like, oh damn, my team needs this. We need that. Then you start getting this really like the fans that obsess like you and me, like getting a bond before you even draft a guy, and then you're like, no, we need this guy. Like not just the player need, the personality, like the persona, everything you start wanting even more. And then if your team ever takes that player, you lose it. And you start falling in love with the guys before they even play. So yeah, this is the fun part. And you start getting I guess the butterflies the closer it gets, because now it's only almost 2 weeks away.
Mhm.
That's how fast time flies, like you just said. But yeah, I mean, and the Bucs are doing everything right to put themselves in a position to take that best player available yet again, which we're going to transition into by
Mhm.
making another big signing. I mean, it's not massive, but it's a really big name in Randy Gregory.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'll let you touch on that and take it away.
Yeah, we put out a video last week on the signing of Randy Gregory, and obviously that's a big move, and we'll take a look at the depth chart here as you look at it. Randy Gregory, right there on your screen, probably going to be some type of rotational player, but he has that experience to start if need be. He's has had production. 6 sacks being his most in his career so far. But I think what doesn't show up is just his ability to pressure the quarterback and be that pass rusher that can come in and really affect and play well in this scheme. He's done it before. I think there's the connection with our position coach at outside linebackers and George Edwards. So it's a good move. I mean, you look at his numbers here again, 3.5 sacks last year combined. Playing with 2 teams in Denver and the San Francisco 49ers. So has Super Bowl experience. I think it's a solid move overall. Again, I mean, we liked him. I think we both liked him coming out in the draft. So yeah, really excited about what he's going to bring in. We'll just see what kind of rotation piece that he can be coming up this year.
And then I guess the negative you'll say is, why has he only had a 6 sack season, the most he's ever had? A lot of it, this guy just needs to stay on the field. Like last year was his first year actually playing a full season, right? Between 2 teams, played a whole season himself. But it's also, how many years did he have because of suspension because of um his drug use, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you hope that's in the past. You hadn't really seen much of that. Now he's had 5 years of consistency of play. 1, 2, 3, 4 years, hopefully 5, right?
Yeah.
Of consistent play, and you're just getting a more consistent player now. You're not expecting a 10+ sack guy, but then again, when you're next to Avita Vea and Kalijah Cansey and Yaya, hopefully you're just getting so many guys in there that can get after the pass, and then we always say it. The middle of that defense is where the heart is. Vita Vea draws so much attention. Kalijah Cansey was
Yeah.
eating off of that. Yaya was eating off of that. Shaq ate off of that his first year here. It's only going to be to the players' benefit the further out they are away from the powerhouse that is Vita Vea. So we've
Mm-hmm.
always said it for the time he's been here. That was one of our guys that we pounded the table for years ago, and we're ecstatic. We couldn't even believe what the hell happened when we took Vita Vea. So, I mean, am I expecting fireworks from Randy Gregory? No. But do I expect, like someone was saying over there, third down specialist, a guy that can get after the passer? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just a veteran now, a guy that if you heard him talk in the press conference, he's like, I don't like to be like the big loud voice. I just want to let my play on the field do it. And it just shows what this locker room is. It's like a calm, know your business, get your job done, and we'll progress moving forward. I mean, the only guy, like I know I hate to put it on him, but Devin White was not that guy. He's a big
Mhm.
rah-rah, emotional type of guy. No, we need to pull up our big boy pants and get the job done. That's all it is. There's no crying, there's no whining. It's black and white. And that's what we need here in this whole team aspect of a game, not just one player is better than everyone else. So
Right.
I see how he fits in and he competes, right? That's the biggest thing he took away from that press conference. I'm just here to compete.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I think what it does is it just gives you not only another guy that can affect the quarterback, it allows Todd Bowles to be more creative. We talked about, how Kalijah Cansey, we saw him last year on the edge, just utilizing Gregory against guards and having matchups inside and, using him similar to how they utilize Joe Tryonchenko. And like, it just gives you that extra chess piece to have on the front seven, and it just allows your flexibility on defense, but also the more important thing, it gives you flexibility in this upcoming draft. Again, edge rush is important. It's probably our biggest need. I think we still are looking for that number one pass rusher or edge to come aboard. Now, again, a lot of things could happen where one of these top three in the class become available to you, and maybe you get one of those guys. But it doesn't make it where, oh, we have to get an edge round one no matter what. Like it opens up the door to potentially wait, maybe day two for an edge rusher, or, maybe they even wait till day three. So there's options there to be had. It also allows the Buccaneers, if they want to be aggressive and trade up, to do so. So I think that is a good thing for the Buccaneers. Just moving in, and Jason Light likes to have his flexibility going into the draft, so he can take the best player available. So I think there's a lot of benefits from this move. I really liked it. I think this is something that you could expect going into preseason. The Buccaneers looking at more value free agents if there is a certain need that they weren't able to fill on draft day. I think you could definitely see them continue to add guys like this, especially if veterans get cut after the draft, which we see a lot happen because younger players come in, they're better than that said veteran, and they end up parting ways. So there's still a lot to be had, throughout this offseason as we move forward. And I think it's a very exciting time for the Bucs to have that flexibility going into it.
And it seemed like a winning team, like a team that has a winner advantage too. Like to a guy like Randy Gregory,
Mm,
I don't think he's either gonna go for a top dollar just because getting the end of his money of his career or go to a winner, right? He mentioned that this is a team that's gone deep in the playoffs. They fought the Lions, could have made it to that game. He's hoping to make it that far with this team this year. A lot of, points of like where he's saying this team is good. I'm
mm,
hopefully a guy that can help us get us to just that little bit more that we needed. And like you said, being flexible all on your defense. I think the only area we even mentioned was left guard or center. And that's what people are saying in the chat, JPJ, no matter what,
yeah.
all aboard. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, are we
Mm,
trying to sum it up to just be that's the only need we need, right? That we have to have. But I don't know if Jason Light takes a guard in the first round or a center in the first round.
mm,
So, because he pretty much knocks it out of the park in the second round. So why reach, right? Unless it's a guy
yeah.
you really fall in love with. And yeah, it's just cool how he's setting this up, and it's a slow ride, but he's making all the right moves. He's keeping all the guys that need to be here, getting rid of the bad ones, filling in with areas of needs that are potential upgrades, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't have this experience of an edge rusher. Yeah, you lost Shaq, but he was on the downturn. You bring a more lengthy guy in Randy Gregory.
Mm,
I mean, it's hey, let's see what he can become, especially if a position coach that he loves.
mm,
Let's see what we can become with that, and then yeah, the draft has so many ways it can go, and it's very exciting. And we're going to kind of touch on a lot of them of
yeah.
areas where we can upgrade. certain position groups.
Mhm. Yeah, I think, and that brings me. You mentioned about, do they take an offensive lineman first round, and this is something I think we've talked a lot about. Just not here, but in social media. A lot of mocks having the Buccaneers taking, Graham Barton, taking, JPJ. That has been a conversation, and then now it's kind of shifted towards, taking a guard later, round 2 or 3. Mason McCormick obviously has been a popular name. You see Christian Haynes, the guy out of UConn, a popular pick as well. But it goes to, kind of what I want to get into, and that is, getting that best player no matter what, like it, regardless of position, finding the best player that you can get at 26, and whether that's a corner, whether that's edge, whether that's offensive line, whether it's receiver.
Yeah.
I think just maximizing your value at that pick, wherever you pick, if you're trading up or, trading down, what have you, making sure you get the best player. I think a lot of that doesn't, like, it gets lost in translation. Your goal is to find a good football player that can come in and contribute right away. That's what you're hoping for. And I think that's where, like, the Chop Robinson discussion kind of goes further down in the priority, because again, he's all traits, but the production isn't quite there. And do you think he is a good football player, or do you feel like he can become a good football player? Those are kind of the questions that you kind of battle with.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Mm,
And the thing is, like, we're going to make a lot of arguments in this live stream about why, like, if they did take a receiver, why it shouldn't be like, what the hell? Why did you do that? We needed
yeah.
this. Because, I mean, let's start with that. Like, because there's so let's do that, and then we'll move towards our breakdown we want to do later.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, because you put out um the video the other day, was it yesterday? Yeah,
Yeah, Trey Palmer,
Trey Palmer.
potentially being a number 2. Do we feel like he can progress to that level, or do we just feel he's a number 3?
So
And,
so
nothing wrong with that.
so say basing off of that, you have Mike Evans, no doubt Hall of Famer. Chris Godwin may or may not be here next
Right.
year, right? So it's a contract year. He's had his injury stuff, but he always keeps consistently coming back. But is he that guy that can eventually take over for Mike when he leaves? You don't know. And I'm not saying Mike, because he's going to leave soon. We hope he never does. You hope there's like 5, 7 years left, but you just don't know after 30, right? So do you have a guy that can step into that? Because that's a giant step down if you ever do lose him to
Yeah.
whether retirement, injury, or something, right? And then Chris Godwin could be walking next year. And then
Mhm.
you are truly left with Trey Palmer as your number 2, if not number 1.
Right.
So what do you do at that point? That's why
Mhm.
it's like drafting a receiver doesn't make you look like an idiot. It makes you look pretty
Mhm.
smart. And then you can use him this year as an X factor, whether
Yeah.
it is a speed guy or a guy that's great at routes like Lad McConkey, or that somewhat knows our position coach right now, right? So
Mhm.
there are connections there. So you think about it, you're like, holy crap, maybe it would be a smart decision. And maybe it is an upgrade over Trey Palmer, right? Because Trey Palmer, yeah, he showed a lot of confidence and speed, but sometimes the hands were inconsistent. Sometimes, besides deep route, it wasn't much else there. Like, he's really good at a go, yeah,
Mhm.
but we need to see more. But it remains to be seen. Then it's also, we want to get an upgrade over Tompkins. Like, I love the guy, energy bug, but I don't know if he's NFL material fully. I know he's a
Mhm.
hell of a good guy and locker room guy, but upgrade at returner, upgrade at that wide receiver position, and just overall looking at the future. And that's what Jason Light's job is.
Mhm. No, I agree with that. And you look at, receiver in this draft, obviously it's a deep position, probably one of the strongest positions opposite of offensive line. Offensive line very strong in this class, and then receiver right there as well. And I think Buccaneers come away with a receiver, whether, within the first 3 rounds. I think they're going to draft a receiver. They're going to come away with one. I think in this draft. Definitely, maybe even 2 receivers in total, throughout the course of the draft. So I think that is definitely a position they're going to attack. Now, can they do it at 26? Absolutely. Especially if the right guy falls there. Brian Thomas Jr., if he's available, Adana Mitchell, or Adonai Mitchell, however you pronounce his name. Him is good, and then Xavier Worthy could be an option. You want guys that can create separation, especially in this offense, and Xavier is definitely one of those dudes. I think Mitchell and Thomas Jr. definitely can do that with their speed and their ability. You look at Ladd McConkey, probably the best fit in this offense as far as running it. And then, like you said, position coaches here now, and Brian McClendon. He's also worked with Xavier Leggett, so that could be a potential target, who's probably more so round 2, but who knows? Maybe he's a guy they like in round 1, and they decide to take that step, or trade down and pick him up. But there's a lot of good receivers that they could definitely look at. And again, it's just if the right position is there for them, whether that's receiver and that's the best available, none of the other guys, don't make sense, then yeah, I could definitely see receiver in round 1. And I don't think that's a bad position to take, like you said, because of what is looking at the future and looking at the present as well. I think you need good receivers. You look at the Chiefs. Now, they had a lot of receivers by committee, but they also had, really good tight end, and obviously the quarterback play. But they're going to continue to draft a receiver because they need one. So, yeah, definitely.
Hey, Justin Watson, man.
Yeah.
That's the GOAT right there. But yeah, they're going to be drafting a receiver because now their receivers making dumb moves, whether it's Tony dropping balls or now
Right.
in trouble like left or right. Gosh. But yeah, I mean, in my vision, it's like if they do take a receiver, it's not only is it a thing for the future, but it's a guy that can be an X factor considering how many weapons we had that Super Bowl season. Yeah, you want to surround Tom Brady with weapons, but it's also surround a quarterback. It doesn't necessarily have to be just Brady, right? So the more you have for an outlet for your quarterback to make an easy one-man read as opposed to the only guy that can win on the outside is Mike Evans, what the hell else am I supposed to do? If you're loaded with talent, why the hell not just get rid of it, right? You always talk about the quarterback having the 5-year rookie contract. But if you have a receiver, they're pretty high paid players too themselves.
Yeah.
Mike's getting 25, 26 right now. Like you never know, right? So it's hard to keep them for a long time too. So if you have 3 really good ones, use it while you got it. So that's my case for a receiver. And then let's talk about O-line if you want. Because like you just said, it's another deep class of offensive linemen. But do you take an interior lineman in the first round? Or do you wait for day 2? Because like a lot of people see, like Jason Light's pretty damn good in the later rounds. He likes the small school guys. He just knows how to judge an offensive lineman. The only one I think he's missed on was what? Was Pamphile? Did he draft Pamphile?
Yeah, Pamphile was one of his draft picks. I mean, he was okay. I mean, again, I think some of those early picks in his first draft, Kadeem Edwards didn't really pan out. Caleb Benenoch again.
Did Benenoch? Did he?
Pretty sure he did. Yeah. Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah. I think that was the 2016 draft that just was bad and overall. So yeah, it didn't work out. But again, he's had
Logan Hall later, but go ahead.
But he had his hits in, Ali Marpet, Donovan Smith. You look at Alex Kappa, Cody Mock, even Robert Hainsey has been a success for where they got these guys. And, Luke Gedeke, another one. Tristan Wirfs, obviously the biggest one. Probably a potential future Hall of Famer right now. You could just pretty much put that in stone. So, yeah, he knows how to find offensive linemen. That's no question. Being a former offensive lineman himself, he knows how to look at the position. And, yeah, I'm confident that he could find offensive linemen on day 2, even day 3 if need be. But if you're sitting there at 26 and you have a chance to get either Graham Barton, yeah, yeah, I agree. Hey, Donovan Smith had some good years there, especially and when Tom Brady was a quarterback. But yeah, I understand it. It's definitely a trigger point.
Mm.
But yeah, I think if Graham Barton or Jackson Powers Johnson is there at 26, I think you have to consider it because they are two really good offensive linemen that could come in and play right away. And I don't think you can overlook that. They are pretty high level players already as far as when you'll get them. And, they can play left guard or center, I think, and they could start at those positions if you need them to. So I feel if those are the best players on the board and there's not a pass rusher or there's not a legit corner, i.e. Cooper DeJean, who we're going to talk about here in a little bit, like if those guys aren't available, then yeah, I think you definitely look at offensive linemen. And if they're your highest rated player, then that's what you have to do. You have to trust the board. I think that's been our whole point in this live stream. You got to really just trust your rankings and how you have it set up and go with the best player.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Like, trust your board, and that's the only area where Plus and I had a conversation. We're like, he's been knocking it out of the park. Besides Logan Hall lately, like,
Yeah.
how in the hell do you go to sleep after round one, wake up day two, you're like, I'm not trading out of this. Logan Hall is my guy. Hell yeah! I'd still scratch my head, and I think we've even messaged Jason Light just drunkenly, being like, "What the hell are you thinking?" But
Yeah.
it blows my mind when other guys like Boye Mafe was there, George Karlaftis was there before we traded out.
Yeah.
Just guys that we all thought were highly rated, and then you took him. It just didn't make any sense. But hey, I mean, he's being a rotational guy. He's a starter right now, but I think he played over 50% of the snaps last year, 56% of the snaps. So
Mhm.
he's doing a job. He's not, but I think that's an area where it could be greatly improved. Where a
Yeah.
guy you can trust in, not just hope he's not a liability. And
Mhm.
that's an area where I'm talking about building different position groups and just improving in any area of your team. Like wherever you see your highest rated guy, he should be able to fill in and be better than the guy that you drafted him to success, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like stay true to your board, and if a guy falls in your lap and it matches the highest point of your draft board, take him,
Mhm.
regardless of where the hell it's at, not just based off of need. And that's what the hell they're doing, and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and with interior offensive line, yeah, they could, obviously wait till, day two. They could take a guard at 57, maybe, a Christian Haynes. They could look at Christian Mahogany from Boston College. They could look at Dominic Puny, Mason McCormick, obviously has been a hot name. There's other centers, maybe a Zach Frazier
Of course.
falls to you. Zach Frazier, I think, could be in consideration at 26. Like that guy's really good. Like he could come in and start right away. I think the center class overall in this draft is very strong. And I think they could easily find an upgrade to potentially put over Robert Hainsey. Hainsey, again, serviceable, solid player, but I think ideally they would want him as a backup, a rotational swing piece that they can use as interior offensive line backup. I think that's what his ceiling probably is. And I think they could easily find a guy that could come in and take that spot, or at least compete to start for sure. But there's a lot of depth, and yeah, I think interior offense line is definitely on the board in round one. And sticking in the trenches, I want to shift, and this is another video we talked about, and that's interior defensive line being a potential need.
What
Um, you know, because you look at, let me bring back the depth chart here real quick. Just looking at it, we talked about receiver, obviously interior offensive line, but yeah, I mean, if Johnny Newton or or not Brian Thomas, but Brian Murphy is there available at 26, I think you have to consider that because after Kalijah Cansey, Vita Vea, yes, Logan Hall right here is a starter. You have Greg Gaines, who's your top nose tackle backup, but after that, you really don't have much. I mean, Mike Green, I thought played okay in his time when he was in there, but after that, I think you want more. They don't know if they're going to bring back William Golston, probably not. But I think you can upgrade there, and I think Newton, if he's there at 26 or Murphy, I think you have to consider that because those guys are really good. And if you can't get an edge player, why not bolster a strength in the inside and make it easier for guys like Randy Gregory, like Yaya Diaby and JTS, etc.
Yeah, 100. I mean, 1,000%. Because the thing is, Vita Vea, we know. Kalijah Cansey in the playoffs, they were using him all over the place, standing up, running from the outside.
He's the chess piece,
right?
yeah.
So you're building guys like that, and Johnny Newton, literally at Illinois, played out everywhere. He played outside, he played inside, he played over the nose. Like, there was nothing he didn't successfully do. Yeah, maybe he's not the freak athlete, but he just knows how to get after the quarterback using his hands, using leverage, using dip rips, swim, whatever the hell it is. He's just a very savvy pass rusher from the interior, but he can be used as a 5 tech and anywhere around the line. So I think that would be an easy decision to make if he's available at 26, because it's just an upgrade over the room, like you just said. Make Logan Hall a more of a rotational guy where it's just a third down, get after it. Like, that's one thing I mentioned to you this week was like, I think of Logan Hall as a guy I don't trust. I don't want him on the field. It's a guy that I'm putting him on the field. It's not a guy that I'm like, I can't take you off the field. I want those types of guys where I'm like, no, we need you on there. Logan Hall, I'm like, no, we can make you rotation. Is it in that Lions game? He messed up a couple of those runs too. Those big runs that they spread it out. He's never been a part of his game. I don't think it will be. And that's not just me being an asshole to him. It's just something he's always been a mess up with. And I don't think that fit our mold as a player. And we just took him. I don't know what they were expecting. Again, I think Jason Light let someone else take the pick on that one.
Yeah, I think
it's a lot of good things that you want as a guy you rely on.
Yeah, and in the video, I discussed how interior defensive line I think could be a potential pick, not only in round 1, but I think if they don't get one, one of those top guys that in the first round, it definitely could be a target on day 2 and round 2, round 3, where there's a lot of good players that could come in and obviously just add to your pass rush, add to your run stopping ability, and just give you another piece to depth, either to potentially start or potentially be that rotation piece that probably Logan Hall probably should be. I think, you said it. I think ideally he is, utilized as a pass rusher, coming in and out of certain plays and just playing a certain part as a rotation. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think, that can be okay, but he's got to continue to evolve and get his game where at least he can be stable out there, like you talked about. I think that's going to be important. But yeah, adding a guy like the potential of Johnny Newton, or even looking at day 2 guys like Brandon Dorlus from Oregon, you look at Braden Fisk from Florida State, Chris Jenkins, Michigan. I'm going to try to pronounce his name, but Rook,
first name.
Yeah, Rook from Clemson. I think it's pronounced a Roro, or I don't know how you say that, but yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. And I'll just, I'm going to just keep apologizing for the name pronunciation because I know I butcher a lot of names on this show. So forgive me, guys. But yeah, Rook from Clemson, I think he could play. He'd be awesome. Darius Robinson, I know you're not a big fan of him, but I see his game. I see a lot of potential there. Again, big size. I see him as an interior defensive lineman. I don't really see him as an edge. I know that's where he played at Missouri, but I think he could be a perfect 5 tech in this defense and kind of a chess piece as well. A guy that you can move out and, he could be that power player for you. So he would be interesting too. I don't know if they would take him in the first round. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of potential there for defensive line. Michael Hall from Ohio State is another guy that I like a lot. So that is just a sneaky need that I don't think has really been talked about enough here. Through the Buccaneer circles, as far as like, social media and all that. So I think that will be something to look for. It just feels like that's a position they're going to attack, because they really haven't added to it. They have Greg Gaines, like we said, and that's pretty much it as your top backup.
And if you're talking three big bodies that you're trying to rotate in and out and not get
Yeah.
hurt, Villa, like, yes, he's gotten more reps every year, but 350 pounds, that's a lot to ask. I know he's
And
getting
I think that's a big point too. You want Vita Vea, I think, more fresh throughout the year. Let him rest more so you can maximize those reps that he comes in. Because last year it seemed at times he was a little tired, through whether it be the second half of games or just certain points of the game, he looked a little gassed, and you want to see him more fresh so he can affect the quarterback more, especially on third downs, get him in there more. That will be a benefit to him if we have guys that can come in and spell him time to time.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the Texas guy. He's going to fall because dumb decisions, but it is what it is.
Right. Yep. I didn't even mention T'Vondre Sweat. I mean, if that big boy's there in the fourth round, I think you definitely consider it. I think you definitely look at it for sure.
You got the meat locker and down in Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Jeez. We already stopped the tush push? Such a stupid name for it. Imagine if he's in there too. Jeez. Right. Yeah. Unreal. But yeah, with that, let's move on to the secondary additions, possible first round selection, and I'll let you introduce it.
Yeah, let's I want to bring up this, and I got some pushback from this, but I mean, let me bring it up here on the screen. I really like Cooper DeJean. I know you do too. This was a tweet I put out earlier, just talking about how DeJean would be a great fit. This is from an article by Jordan Reed, who I really respect, on ESPN now. He talked about DeJean being a fit for the Buccaneers. Mentions the trade of Carlton Davis, but yeah, DeJean is just, again, playmaker, which we haven't had in our secondary, outside of Winfield Jr. But you add a guy like this who can really be a playmaker, a chess piece like Todd Bowles likes to talk about, and he can do it all. I think he's an excellent cover three corner. The Bucs are playing more zone coverage than they have been in recent years because they don't really have that four-man rush right now. So I think he could play corner. I think he could play slot. I think he could play safety. I think he's a better version of Brian Branch. That's how I look at him. I just think he's got it all. And again, had an excellent pro day today as well. I think he would be good enough. I mean, I really like him. I mean, you look at his numbers, again, 2 interceptions. He had 5 the year before. Really good tackler as well. Just a good football player.
A great punt returner. So it's another area.
Yeah, special teams value. Right? Yeah.
So, but it's not only just that. It's another, in my opinion, a guy you can use as a chess piece. Go back to Jordan Reed's breakdown of him before we go over there. Yeah, so scroll down a little bit. Mm-hmm. The biggest takeaway to me is DeJean has excellent backfield vision and ball skills to patrol the outside thirds in zone coverage. Yes, you mentioned it a lot. We're mainly in zone. Let's be honest. Right. A lot of the blitzes we are running is linebackers going in and your secondary are covering like hell. And yes, we got beat on a lot of it at times. Carlton Davis being gone, you're down or corner. You're not seeing Cooper DeJean as just a man lockdown like Carlton Davis. Cooper DeJean can do a whole lot more. Yes, he's not as a lockdown corner and man as Carlton Davis was at his prime or Jamel Dean is, but the guy can just do so much more. And he can be that type of chess piece where you can ask him to interchange with AWJ or you can ask him to, okay, so I'm a McCollum, now you switch and you be a safety and we can interchange things because there's so many chess pieces on this defense already. And you add another one like him, and that's also upgrading the corner room and making Izzian a backup or possible Izzian can be a safety too. So there's so
Yeah.
many interchangeable pieces where Cooper DeJean could help that a crap ton. And I don't think people really realize the potential of what our secondary could be and
Mhm.
think, oh, it's written off because we got Jordan Whitehead back, safety room's done. It's not just safety. He can play corner, safety, nickel, and just help out in every which way just based off his natural awareness on the field. And that's something we
Right.
wanted to break down today.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that said, let's get into it. We're going to do a little film study here of Cooper DeJean and really just show you what we're talking about here. So yeah, I mean, Mark, we'll let you start it off here.
Yeah, number 3, bottom of your screen. A lot of what you're going to see is just his natural awareness of where the ball is going, like in space. He's not covering anyone, right? But he's understanding where's the quarterback looking. I'm going to go over to drift over to space, not just stay in my zone where my guy is leaving, right? Who else could be coming into my spot? That is heady awareness. That's being knowledgeable of the game. And then the ability to locate the ball over your head like a receiver, come down with it, and then do something with it. Look where he starts and then look where he ends up. It's nuts to see, but I'll let you break down the whole play of what happened and just why is this a valuable piece of what you would want on a defense.
Yeah, so right off the bat, he is definitely a lot better in zone than he is in man coverage. Not saying he isn't good in man coverage, which we're going to get to, but his instincts just take to another level. But also he caught the ball. And I think that's a big thing. That's a big factor for the Buccaneers secondary who have struggled to catch the football. And not only that, he has great return skills, but again, here's another pick six as you see him lined up outside. And again, you can kind of see the hip, stiffness there, but his ability to cut this route again and just undercut, pick it off. But I like his understanding of knowing he's got help behind him, so he can play this super aggressive to cut it inside because he knows if he gets beat by the football, it's okay. He's got a guy behind him. So just really heady football player, always in a good position, and he just finds a way to get to the football.
And the big thing, plus saying tight hipped, I mean, look at him immediately getting beaten off the snap. So, like the guy that gives a little head fake goes in. Look how he's still stuck there in the mud. This guy's peeling off. Look at the separation that happens here. That doesn't look like a lot in the NFL. That is a lot. Like, look at this guy. Look at the separation there. Like, that should, if the quarterback sees that, if it's not a whip route, that's easy. That should be a quick first down conversion. Let's get it going. Move the chains. And then even here, like as he dips down, he's slow to kind of get out of that. But then once he gets it, you saw his 40-yard dash today. I mean, the guy can move. And once he, again, catches the ball, he knows what to do with it. And he's really good with his hands. Athletic freak, played basketball, broke records in high school. Like the guy can do a lot of things. If your only thing is worrying about his man press, okay. But we just told you we don't do a lot of that recently. We do try to at times when the blitz isn't getting home, right? With his own blitzes don't get home. But the thing is, this is where he's masterful at. And if you can use this piece with along with Jamel Dean's ability and Winfield's ability, Jordan Whitehead's ability, like it's just a piece where you can use and just develop a whole defense as a whole, as opposed to just play man. That's one thing that Carlton Davis was good at. Okay, cool. But it's a lot more than just man defense or zone defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, would he be better in I think he's ideally a cover 3 corner, and you see him again, eyes on the quarterback here, but just the vision that he has, the anticipation that he plays with, looking at the football and being able to read and react and then also make plays. I mean, look at that. It just being able to find a way and then almost takes this back to the house. So again, he's special with the ball in his hands. I think he just has really good instincts, a good football player. Yes, that as far as being a sticky man corner, probably not going to be that, but I think he could add a ton of value to your team as we continue to go through the tape here.
But with that play itself, like most corners just give up on it. It's not my man. I'm not going to cover it. No one expects it to be tipped and then pick up the ball. The same thing here. Look at where the receiver's at. He's not just watching the receiver. He's feeling where the receiver's at. That's an amazing awareness he has. And then realizing, okay, where's the quarterback going with this ball? That is way overthrown. To understand the trajectory of where that ball is going, to leave the receiver completely to go after the ball, that's awesome. Our corners have been for the years past. Jamel Dean specifically does not catch the ball at all, especially in big situations. He always drops it, especially when it's in his hands, both hands. This guy secures it, toe tap, interception, phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal work. Go ahead, Plus.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the background on this kid, he's a super athletic. Again, he played quarterback in high school. He was a receiver. So obviously that shows the hands there. Um, All-time basketball player. He he had more points than Harrison Barnes in high school as far as basketball. So super athletic kid, very gifted. But you see him here just again click and close, being able to come downhill and attack and make the tackle. Here, fighting through traffic, identifying where the football is going. So just his diagnosis of plays is very fast and quick. I think that's where his added value comes. Yes, would you like to see the hips move a little bit quicker?
Mhm.
Absolutely, but when he is in attack mode, I think he's really good. And I think that's where he would be really fun to have in Todd Bowles' scheme. And I think he would fit it pretty well.
Yeah, it's that thing where Tabo says he's just a good football player. Like understanding how to get through the trash, that's huge. Instead of going around the whole entire group, he went through it and found an alleyway where he could get through. Playing smarter, playing faster, not just playing faster because you can run faster, but playing smarter and diagnosing plays before they happen. Quarterback's getting it out. Let me get after this. Yes, he's covered it. It's a bad throw, but still, he would have been there to immediately either knock the ball down or just in the proper place to make a play on the ball. A lot of good stuff from Cooper DeJean, and it's like you just see it time and time again. Like, how heady is this? I'll let you break this one down because I couldn't believe this stuff.
Yeah, when I saw this play, I was like, "Are you serious?" Like the dude has eyes in the back of his head, but he's just so good with his feel and instincts. Again, seeing where the football is going. Now he just turns his hips, spins back, and makes a play on the football. Trying, probably frustrated that he didn't come down with the interception, but still a great play nonetheless. I just think again, solid football player now here in the slot. Yeah, a little handsy here in man coverage, but he does a good job of his footwork, moving back inside with the receiver, and then ability to make a play on the football. Now, again, that's a bigger receiver. I think that might be a tight end, if not mistaken, but or just a huge receiver. But he's got size too, so he can play. These type of matchups. At 6'1", 205. This is where he comes into play, and I think again, a chess piece. And I think that adds a lot of value to his game.
What I like about this one, though, yes, it's handsy, but sometimes the refs let you play. What you don't see is him pulling a jersey. Yeah, he may be pulling his back,
Right.
but once he gains that leverage, he sticks with him and then starts transitioning with the guy. There's no pull, tug, there's no extra stretched arm. He's right there with him the whole way and then makes a play on the ball, not by ripping at the guy's jersey. Look at his back arm. He's not pulling nothing. That was just a good play on the ball. And sometimes you got to let these guys play. I mean, it can't be just all ticky tack everything. And when you get in the heated of the actual game, sometimes they do let that go, especially if there's no pulling of the jersey. Here we go again. Again, at the top of the route, he's just running into the path of the receiver, letting him go a little bit, no big pull, staying with it, getting hit on the ball. Like, I like that stuff. I mean, that's just doing enough as a football player, not just cheating by pulling jerseys.
Yeah, again, just good technique and fighting and driving through the football, driving through the player here, as he comes back to it and makes the tackle. So yeah, really good stuff as we continue on.
And maybe people are gonna get mad. Yeah, I like the drive there of that the hip issue. That's why he's a safety. I think he can play both. I mean, it's not necessarily yes, he's not gonna be a lockdown man, but he just brings so much more to the table that you can see the argument.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is good fluidity here as he drops and comes back to the football and again makes a play on this pass breakup. We'll see the reverse angle here as it comes through. Again, just good footwork and ability. You see his eyes. Again, eyes are back to the quarterback. He sees where that football is going, knows how to locate it, and makes a play incomplete. So yeah, I think he's good enough to play both, and I think there's unlocked potential with Cooper DeJean as well. So there's no telling that I mean, there's no reason why he can't get better at man coverage.
And here it is again. Like, check the hips out. This is the only area where they're like, oh, he's trash. He's not a corner. Watch as this guy dips everything down and transitions back to the quarterback. Look how it takes him like an extra step or two, like 1, 2 to gather, then to transition back. Yeah, that happens. But a perfectly timed quarterback route with a receiver, that you're gonna get beat. It doesn't matter if you're Darrelle Revis in your prime or Cooper DeJean in Iowa. So with that, sometimes you got to live with it, but he's right there to make the tackle, even though the guy caught it. Now, run defense, another very close to line reason why people think he could be a good safety too.
Yeah, I think, slot defender, safety, corner, but you can see he's at his best when he's attacking, getting downhill, and making plays. That's probably why he's more suited to play in zone coverage as a cover 3 corner. It's a big reason why the Buccaneers brought in Bryce Hall, because he does that very well too. But you can just see in his game where he can get and make plays. I like this one here where he's getting stretched out and finds a way to get back to the football. Again, gets off the block and makes the tackle. And that's a huge part of his game. He's probably the best tackling corner in this draft class. Doesn't miss many tackles. Here is a great play. He's going to come downhill and watch this. Again, move his feet, get outside and make a diving tackle here. Really good tackle to save a bigger play than it was. So really like his tackling ability, and that's a huge part in today's NFL game.
Yeah, good thing he made that tackle, because if he didn't, he's the only outside guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Same thing here.
Yeah, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so same thing here, fighting through blocks, pushing his guy back. Again, he misses that tackle there after I talk about his tackling ability, but still a good job forcing him back inside to his help. And again, just good overall play. Now here, one slot rep in pass coverage. So again, he's got that versatility, pretty sticky coverage there. And, just forces the quarterback to make a hard throw and a difficult catch if it was going to be made. But guys, that's Cooper DeJean right there. Be sure to hit that like button if you guys enjoyed that. Appreciate all the comments, and we'll get to your guys' thoughts as well as we wrap it up here.
I mean, but Cooper DeJean, overall, there's a lot more things to like than to not like. If you're a team that is running primarily outside man, which the Bucs are not, even though a lot of people think that we solely are, then you don't take this guy. This guy is a master at zone. You can read anything that's in front of him, diagnose fast, and get after it.
Yeah.
People want to use him as a safety. Good, use him, because he's going to do well at it. But I wouldn't pigeonhole him only at that. I would use him as a chess piece, like Todd Bowles knows how to use a lot of these guys, and to see what he's best at and let him go.
Yeah. And we're not saying, Cooper DeJean is number 1 on the Bucs board. It could very well be they like other corners better. They could like, Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama, who's, again, very good at man coverage press, likes to use his hands. They could like, some of these other guys, whether that's Ennis Rakestraw from Missouri, Lassiter from Georgia. You look at, the top 3 corners, if like a Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo or Terry and Arnold, the other Alabama corner, were available. Maybe they look at them. Nate Wiggins could be on their radar as well. Now he's a little undersized, again, only 173. So I don't know about that one, but again, he's a good man coverage corner with elite speed, 4.2 speed, and can really move and do a lot of good things there. So, those guys could be higher on their board, but really just wanted to talk about Cooper DeJean and his value that he could bring to the Buccaneers. I think he is a good fit. And not to mention, Lucas talks about it here, the special team value. I mean, his ability with the ball in his hands and to make plays when he's out in space is special. Really good returner. And again, with the kickoff rules, returner is important now. And you could have special teams touchdowns coming back. And for the first time in Tampa Bay, that would be something, right? To have guys that can actually take it to the house and have that type of ability.
Yeah, because again, like I mentioned with Tompkins.
Mhm.
We've tried him at punt returner, tried him as receiver, as a little
Yeah.
special little, give him a couple handoffs or quick passes. I That's an area where we need to improve in punt returner big time,
Mhm.
because a lot of even playoff games, there's plays are made, whether it's punt return or punt defending, but still, either way, like that is a key piece of your team that you need to have. There's three aspects of it. It's not just offense and defense.
Mhm.
And I feel like we haven't had that in a long time, or sometimes ever in
Yeah.
our whole franchise history. And we've only had little blips here and there. I mean, we just need to find ways to upgrade any aspect of the team. And that is
Mhm.
one area we drastically need improvement. Yeah, our kicker punter secured. We need a punt returner, kick
Mhm.
returner with the new rules. And then, not to mention, this guy could be a starter at nickel, could be
Yeah.
a starter at safety, could be a
Right.
starter in outside corner. It's just a piece where you could improve your room, making Christian Izzy into more of a backup instead of a starter.
Right. Make him more of a safety,
Right.
prospect, where you move him back and
Even though I
make
like him a lot. I like Christian,
yeah,
but
and maybe that improves your room, but it gives you another piece and obviously a another starter that you could put back there, and it gives you a playmaker that could actually catch the football. I think that's a big emphasis, and turnovers are huge in this game. We see what it does. In the Super Bowl, there was multiple turnovers in that game, and that ends up being the difference. And it makes a huge factors on the outcome. So yeah, I mean, if you can get a guy like that, I'd be ecstatic. For it, I think Buccaneers fans will definitely warm up to the idea of having him. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
just take this food for thought. Like, we all know Antoine Winfield Jr. is a ball hawk, beast, does everything right.
Yeah.
He's amazing downhill, getting after the quarterback, right? So imagine an alignment where he's playing up high. At the snap, he comes flying in, and you have Cooper DeJean drop back. You have another
Mhm.
ball hawk that takes over. D. Delaney just couldn't do that.
Yeah.
He was not a ball hawk. They try to say he was. No. You got a guy that is truly shown that time and time again. So, yes, at the collegiate level, but still, like,
Mhm.
it's a guy that can be a chess piece where you can not lose it once you bring in Antoine Winfield Jr. And that's something where, if you can let AWJ do anything he wants, and you
Mhm.
still have someone back there that can cover your butt, good night. Like,
Yeah.
that's a scary defense.
Yeah. And people talk about Jordan Whitehead as well. And you add someone like DeJean, there's so many things you could do with Jordan, in addition to that, play him more in the box where he's comfortable, use him as an extra linebacker. You can do so many creative things. And guess what, guys? We have a creative defensive coordinator in Todd Bowles who loves exotic stuff. So yeah, I would be happy with that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Be sure to hit the like button. We appreciate all the people in here, all the support. But yeah, let's just get to. I wanted to get off a couple. This was a good comment by Tall Florida Guy. He was talking about the safety. We kind of mentioned it. Yeah, there's some stiffness in the man coverage, but I think we showed that is something I think can be unlocked as far as potential. I think there's still upside for him to grow as a player. But right now, I think he's already a really good zone player, and that's hard to come by.
Yeah, and I mean, I just be creative with Cooper DeJean. Don't force feed thinking he's just a safety or just an outside corner. It's just, you can use him a lot more different ways than people want to pigeonhole him.
Mhm.
And I think there's a lot of stereotypes with him too. So, there's I just see him as a weapon, a defensive weapon, right?
Yeah.
And a ball hawk playmaker that we just don't have in the secondary besides Winfield. And when Winfield gets brought in, it gets all taken away. I
Mhm.
just need another guy that can take the ball away from the other team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I think that's gonna do it for us tonight. But again, be sure to hit that like button. Again, we appreciate all the support, all the people in here. Yeah. we're getting we're getting a lot closer to the NFL draft, and I'm not sure when we'll be live again. I'm not sure if we're going to be live next week, but definitely the week of the draft we'll be live. We'll put out a first round mock draft for you guys. We'll do that live on the show, so that should be a lot of fun, and also get prepared for our live draft shows on Thursday and Friday of the draft, covering it. I think we're going to start at 8 p.m. for both days. Again, times could change, but I think that's when we're going to start for Thursday and Friday, and really just discuss the Buccaneers picks and go through it. So that should be a lot of fun. But with that said, hope you guys all have a great week. Go Bucs, and we'll see you on the next one.
Woo!